Hello, friends, and welcome to another episode of Cooking with Kaya. Cooking with Kaya. Side note, I'm obviously not cooking, and my name's not Kaya. However, today we will be candle making. So, welcome to Candle Making with Noon. So exciting, right? Okay, so before we get started with the candle making, I am gonna pour me up a little drinky drink. Yes, it is. I don't even know what time it is, like 10:30 in the morning, almost 11. But we grown out here, so we're gonna have a drink in the AM. Day drinking is preferred, okay? Because when you're drinking at night, you can't go to sleep. That thing will keep you up. Alcohol all in your system. So I've gravitated towards day drinking when I do drink, which is not too often. But today, hold on, let me try to get this off. Okay, so today we are gonna be drinking On the Rocks Lemon Drop Martini. So good. This is not an ad, but anyway, it's so good. Somebody had got it for me for my birthday. They brought it to my little birthday gathering, and I was like, oh, this legit right here. So I had to get my own. When I had went before, they didn't have it. It was sold out. That's how you know it's good. But we hope this is good, because you know sometimes they change their recipes and all like that. So we gonna see what it's hitting for in just a second. So I got my cup, my red cup. You already know the red cup. Gotta have it. Got that right there with some ice in there. So the drink is gonna be a little chilled. And we're gonna pour up. All right. So I'm gonna taste this and see how it is. Okay, not bad. It has to get a little more chilled, but not bad. Okay, so yes, welcome to Candle Making with Noon. And let's just get right into what we'll be doing today. So about 2 months ago or so, I got the idea that I wanted to make candles. And I wanted to make my own line of candles that told its own unique story. Rooted in my own experiences and also experiences that I feel that other people can also relate to. And so I won't tell you the name or get into all of that right now, but I thought that it would be a good idea to make one of the candles on camera. So far I've already made 3 candles, the first 3 candles, and all of this is testing, right? Right now I'm in the testing phase. So I made the first candle, the second candle, and the third candle. Each I made 3 different types of candles with 3 different wicks to see which wick is the best fit. And I'm also in the middle of test burning them as well to see how they burn as well. Again, to figure out which wick is the best fit for the product. And today I am going to be making my 4th candle in my candle line. And I just wanted to record it, and yeah, we'll see how that goes. Now that my lemon drop has had time to sit in the ice, I'm gonna try it again to see what it's hitting for. Yeah, that's good. I'm gonna sit that outside of frame right now so that we have room for the candle making, but let's just jump right into the process. So I want to just walk you through all the items here that I have on the counter. Just tell you a little bit about it, the use that we have for it, and then I'll jump right into the candle making. So as you can see here, we have a pot, just a standard pot. And then we have this thing here, which I guess it's like a portable stove, but like it's just one eye of the stove. So I'm blanking on what the actual official name is, but we'll just call it the portable stove. eye. Portable stove eye. Yeah, portable stove eye. So we have our portable stove eye and we have a pot. When you are making candles, you want to be able to melt your wax. So you can either do that by having a wax melter, which is just a machine that you pour the wax into and it will heat up the wax and melt it for you. We also have what's called the double boiler method, which is what I'm going to be using today. And what that is you use the pot and the portable stove eye, as I'm calling it today. You'll use both of these in conjunction together. You'll put your wax into this pitcher here, and then you put the pitcher into the pot, and that is how you melt your wax. What else? So I have a bag of wax here, pretty self-explanatory. I also have just a little scoop so that I can get the wax out and measure it. I have a thermometer so that I can know what the temperature is of my wax. So there's actually a temperature that you should heat your wax up to in order to put the fragrance in. And then there is a temperature that you will pour your wax at as well. So definitely need that thermometer to keep track of that. So I also have a scale here. This scale is what I use for my wax. And then I also have a smaller scale here that I use to measure my fragrance oil. Now, you don't necessarily need to have two different ones, but I find that this small one is really good for fragrance oils. And this one here I had got before I did my research a little bit more. So, I mean, it works, you know what I mean? One for wax, one for oil. It's been working for me, so I don't see an issue with it. But whatever scales work for you, you can use, just as long as it's accurate. I measure my oils and wax in grams, and I just find that to be a little bit more accurate. And so, you know, however you would want to do it, be my guest, but grams is recommended. And I have everything written in here as far as my formulas and things like that, because I'll be using 3 different fragrance oils. I wrote everything down, did the conversions and everything like that, so I know exactly how much to measure. Okay, then we have the jars or the vessels that I'm using for my candle. This is a 9-ounce jar, but it fills up to 7 ounces as a candle. So 7 ounces of wax will be going into here. Okay, and so this is alcohol. It's just a spray bottle with alcohol in it that I'll be using to spray down the vessels before I put the wax into it. And then these are the wicks that I'll be using today for my candle making. They are the same type of wick, but different sizes, or I guess that's what you call it. I don't know the correct terminology, but I have a CD14, CD12, and CD10 wicks right here. And so I'm gonna put one into each one, not one into each one, but I'm gonna put one individually into each one of those jars. Again, the whole point of me making 3 different candles with 3 different wicks is to see which wick burns better with the candle for the product overall. And then this here are my my candle wick stickers. So this is actually what anchors the wick into the jar. And then I have like a little paper here so that I can wipe down the jars when I spray it down with alcohol. And I think that's it. Hopefully I didn't forget anything, but now that we are well versed with the materials that I have here, I'm gonna get started with actually making the candle. And lastly, we have, I almost forgot to mention, but we have these little measuring cups, which is for the fragrance oil. I think I already mentioned, but I have 3 different fragrance oils, which are right here. And I will pour into each one as I measure them, so that it can be accurate, and then I'll mix them all together and put it into the candle. Now, because I am in my test phase, I have not created large batches of the oil blends or anything like that, but I will do that after I'm finished my testing, making sure that I like how the candles smell and everything like that. But in the meantime, I just have each fragrance individual, and I mix them at the time of making the candle. So let us move forward into making the candle. As I mentioned, I keep all of my recipes in this book for my candles, so I'll be referencing this as I'm making my candle. But to get started, let's see, I know that I'm gonna need 550 grams of wax, so I am going to measure that. One more thing that I forgot to mention is I also have a stirrer. This stirrer I use for my wax, and this stirrer I use for my fragrance oil. I'm gonna grab my pitcher for my wax, and I'm actually gonna turn on the scale that I use to measure my wax. Let me just move this out the way so you could just see a little bit better. So I am first just gonna sit my pitcher onto the scale. And then from there, I'm actually going to tare this scale. This is how you get the scale to go back to 0 with the weight of the pitcher on it. Because we wanna, when we measure the wax, we just want the measurement of the wax, not the pitcher. So now I'm just gonna do my thing and fill it up until we get 550 grams. And just so you know, guys, like the wax that I have, as you can see, is flakes. It comes as flakes. Not all wax comes as flakes. It might come as a slab where you need to like cut it up or whatever the case might be, but I don't need to do that with the flakes, and it makes it easy to just kind of scoop it up and pour it into the pitcher. And I got 551 grams, so I'm gonna try to take some out because I want it to be perfect, because I don't want to waste the wax, right? Because if you do too much wax, you could actually waste the wax. Okay, there we go. So now I have 550 grams of wax, which is what I needed. And so I'm just gonna close up my wax here. Now that I've measured out my wax, 550, I'm actually going to measure my fragrance oils. Now, some people like to do things simultaneously, but I don't want to start melting my wax yet until I have all my measurements, because sometimes the process can go quick. But for now, I'll just sit it here into the pot. So now let's move on to measuring the fragrance oils. So again, I'm going to turn on this scale, and I'm going to put my measuring cup for my fragrance oil on top of it. Again, I'm going to hit tare so that we only get the measurement of the oil itself, not with the measuring cup. So I'm going to reference my book to know how much oils should go in there. I'm not going to tell you the names or anything of my oils because I don't want to share the recipe right now, but you guys can just watch me as I go through the process. Okay, so for my first oil for this candle, I'm gonna need 17.62 grams So let me see if I can try to do that as accurately as possible. 17.62. Almost there. So I have to be very careful. Like one drop at a time. Okay. That's good. 17.62. I got it. All right. So that is the first oil. Then the next oil, let's see. The next oil is 13.218. So whatever I can get with that. So I maybe do, let's tear the scale again. So I'm going to do 13.22 maybe, if I can get that. Okay, I was able to get 13.23, which is good enough. So we'll leave it at that. And then for the last oil, we also need 13.218 or 13.22. You guys should be wearing gloves when doing this, but I forgot the gloves, so therefore I don't have them. So there's that. And also, if you hear like noise in the background, those are my dogs walking around, keeping noise. One of my dogs is sitting in the window right now. So hopefully he doesn't start barking, but we'll adjust as needed. Okay, so now I'm going to measure my last fragrance oil. So here we go. Again, this needs 13.218 as well. So I'll try to get 13.22. Okay, and now for this, I was able to get 13.21, so we'll leave it there. I have all of my wax measured out. I have all of my fragrance oil measured out. So I'm actually just going to mix my fragrance oil really quick, just so that it's ready. This smells so good. I'm going to use this mixer here to just mix everything together. Interesting combination. So now that we've measured everything out, I'm actually going to turn on my boiler, my portable stove eye, so that the wax can begin to melt. And I just wanted to break right here just to add a quick note, because I realized I didn't explicitly say it in the video, but what I put in the pot was some water, not too much, but I did put a little bit so that
it would be able to boil while also melting the wax in the pitcher. So just so that you guys know, I didn't just put the pitcher into the pot like with nothing in it. Just make sure you put water in it. Very important.
So I'm turning it on to max, just so that it can get really hot so that it can melt all of that wax. And in the meantime, I'm just gonna try to clean up a little bit. Now that we have the wax melting right now, I'm actually going to prep my vessels. So we are going to do that by using this alcohol, and we're just going to use a piece of napkin here. This is from Domino's. Shout out to Domino's. This is not sponsored. So pretty much we use the alcohol to just clean down the glass of any debris or anything like that. And also so that the wick sticker and everything can stick pretty well to the bottom of the jar or vessel, whatever you want to call it. So I'm just going to spray a little bit in there. I'm just going to do it all three. And then just use the paper and just wipe it out. Very simple. Very simple cleaning method. And I like to really make sure that I wipe everything up, so I just take my time with that here. Okay, now that I've wiped out all three of the jars, I'm just going to make sure that I put the wick in it. So these are the wick stickers. And these are the wicks. So I actually like to label each jar so that I know which wick is what. And I will do that. I just forgot to do it before I started recording here, but that is okay. I will put the wicks in order like this so that I can remember that they are in order. So the wax is starting to boil. I don't know if you can hear that noise. And it's starting to melt a little bit. So I'm going to, again, just try to quickly put these wicks in there so that it can stick. I try to get the wicks into the center as close as possible, but it's hard to do that, but you just do your best, you know. And these stick really good too. So once they're down, it's like it's down. So this one wasn't as centered as I wanted it to be, but that's okay. Again, these are just test candles, so I'll do better next time. That was my CD10 wick. Now this is my CD12 wick here. So I'm pretty much just unpeeling the paper off of the sticker here so that I can stick the wick onto it. That one's better. That one's better centered. And then this is my CD14. Okay, now these wick stickers are pretty strong, and you know that it's on really good if you're able to hold the wick just like this and it not fall off the jar. See that? You should be able to hold your jar in the air by the wick. So the wax is still melting. There's a little bit more to melt, but it's on its way. Just stirred it a little bit. And I'm actually gonna work on writing the label for each of the jars so that I can keep track of which wick is what. Which wick is what. So I'm just gonna use this little sticky note. So I just put the wick type and then the initials of the candle that I'm working on so that I know which candle it is. Bless you, Snowy. And I'm just gonna cut it off and tape it onto the jar. Simple. See? Very simple. And that's just for my own reference while I am in the testing phase. All right, perfect. Everything's labeled. The wicks are in place. And the wax is pretty much almost melted. There's a little debris in here from the container itself. I hate that, but I don't know if that's like normal or what, but I'll have to look into it. It's like just little debris that's in the wax. I guess it comes packaged like that from the warehouse, but so since the wax is almost done melting, we want to start to measure it because we want the wax to be at a certain temperature before we pour our fragrance oil into it, and that is so the fragrance can actually bind with the wax correctly. There's definitely a science to it. So with the type of wax that I have, we want to make sure that the wax is heated up to 185 degrees Fahrenheit before we pour in the fragrance oil. Right now it is 178, so we just got to give it a little minute. I like to mix it as I am checking the temperature because sometimes based on where you measure, you could get a different like temperature. So I just like to make sure that the wax is moving around so that I get a more accurate temperature, but you're gonna have to use your own judgment. Some people, if they're using like the wax melter, they will heat their wax up higher than what it needs to be so that when they are you know, pouring it out of the wax melter, it kind of gives room for the wax to cool down a little bit to the ideal temperature. Okay, so mine is, the temperature is showing 188 right now, so I'm just gonna wait just a little bit and try to turn this off just so that it can start to kind of cool down a little bit. Like I said, the ideal temperature here for this type of wax is 185. So I'm actually going to take it off of the heat so that we can get a more accurate picture of what the temperature is. So right now the temperature is showing to be 190. And so I'm just gonna let it cool down a little bit before I put that fragrance in. Okay, so now we are at 185. So I'm gonna go ahead and pour my fragrance oil in. Okay, now once the fragrance oil has been added, you want to stir the mix for about 2 minutes. You don't want to rush and stir. You want to slowly stir. Okay, so I've been stirring for about 2 minutes now. So now I'm gonna stop. And we want the wax to cool down before we pour it into the jars. Again, we poured our fragrance in at about 185, so it actually needs to cool down to around 145, 140 before we pour it into the jars. And right now it's showing that the temperature is still going up. Hold on. About 160. So, oh, it went a little higher when I moved it. You see what I mean? Like, depending on where you put the thermometer, it can have different heat readings. But okay, it looks like it's 164-ish. So I'm just gonna let that cool down. And in the meantime, I'll try to clean up a little bit. Okay, so I cleaned up just a little bit. And now I have my jars prepped. My wax is here. I'm just waiting for it to cool down still. We're about to get a temperature read on that. And one more thing that I forgot to show you guys at the beginning that you'll need for candle making and that I'll be using are these, which these are not the best, but what they are sticks that hold the wax, not the wax, the wick up in place. These came with a candle making kit that I got that was like a little cheapy weepy thing when I was just like trying it out. But for like real candle making, a lot of the times people use like chip clips or like some other things. Sometimes these are not that good because if the wick needs to be taut, this cannot do it. It just really holds it in a particular place while the wax dries. So like a chip clip or something like that. Even this type of clip is useful to keep the wick really taut as the wax dries. But let me take a little drinky drink first, and then we'll check the temperature of the wax. That's it right there. All right. Again, I'm just going to stir it a little bit to make sure that the temperature is most accurate. And it looks like we're at 140, which is perfect temperature. I usually like to pour at 140. Anywhere between 135 and 145 is good, but I like 140 the most. So let us pour, and I'll just try to make it even between all 3 jars or vessels. There's a little hair in my first one, so I'm gonna just try to see if I can fish that out before it dries. That is the first time that happened, but I got it. Yep. All right, so pretty much, hold on, let me just see. I think there's just a little bit more in here. All right. Now I'm gonna put these on to the wicks to make sure that they stand up straight and in the center, so as best as possible. I'm definitely gonna have to upgrade these and get like a chip clip or something else that can help me better once I'm out of the testing phase. That will definitely be worth investing in. I just want to make sure that they are as centered as possible from the top and from the sides. Okay, that looks good. This one needs a little adjustment. Then this one definitely needs adjustment as well. Okay, so they're all looking good. So now that I've poured everything and set the wicks and everything, I just have to wait for it to harden up. So that is the candle making process. I hope it made sense. But if you have any questions, you can let me know. If you're working on anything, you can let me know in the comments. But yeah, I just wanted to share this process with you guys. So now I officially only have one more candle out of my candle line to make. Because again, this was the 4th candle in the series. So now I have one more. So I'm slowly but surely getting there. And the testing, the burn testing has been going well so far on the first 2. The 3rd one that I made maybe about a week ago, that is sitting right now, and it's curing, so that when I do the first test burn, it will be, you know, as potent as it can be. And these will also need to sit for some time as well. They say 7 to 14 days is a good period of time for it to cure, so that it will have the best benefits or smells or performance or whatever you want to call it. So yeah, I'm excited to see how it continues to unfold. But thanks for joining me again. I'll show you guys once it is fully solidified and things like that. So until then, thanks for tuning in. And then this is just a close-up of the candles as they are freshly poured before they have solidified. Okay, so this actually solidified quicker than I thought it would, but here are my candles that I just made. It looks like it's all solidified, no liquid left, but I'll still let it sit out just a little bit. Let me smell it. It smells good. So now I just have to cut the wicks, which I'll do off camera, and then put the tops on it. So after that, I will let it cure for 7 to 14 days, and then I'll be able to test burn it. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. And these are the finished products.